From LALATE headquarters in Santa Monica, this is Afternoons LALATE.
It's a big Wednesday afternoon on LALATE, crashing into you with the waves and in the news. As a fourth stimulus check updated 2021 today heats up with incredible, great news. The voting is starting on the reconciliation process as we head to the finish line. We go over all the details on the breaking news, what's going on in Congress, and what's going on in the president. This is the monthly stimulus check the Democrats want you to have. We'll be going over the calculations of it and everything you need to know in the complicated process that I make simple for you, called reconciliation. Then we turn to the fifth stimulus that heats up this fall with another stimulus check and raising your benefits up a lifetime, and why the federal chair's comments, Jerome Powell, were incredible for you, and how this calculation will play out. Then we turn to the thousands of dollars that viewers continue to get across the board, and it's your day to get it, and viewers are just rocking it. $2,000 to $3,000 a day viewers are indicating they're getting from this channel. I have all the incredible news. It's a big noon time. It's a big afternoon. It's a big Wednesday. It's the middle of the week. Here we go. We're getting over the hump, but we're also getting to that stimulus starting right now. Hey, good afternoon, everybody. How are you doing? You made it to the middle of the week. Congratulations. You're halfway through. You're halfway through. How's the weather where you are, where you're tuning in from? It's pleasant here in Southern California. It's a little bit warmer, but it's still beautiful, a little bit more sunnier here in Santa Monica, California today. How's the weather where you are? And tell me where you're tuning in from. Jump in the live chat. I know some of you are getting better weather, so I'm very blessed that you're having great weather. Jump in the live chat right now. Boy, a lot of great breaking details you're going to hear for the first time on Afternoons LALATE in this recording. Fourth stimulus is heating up with that reconciliation process. We'll be going over the reconciliation process with a little more detail today because you've been asking some great questions. So I'll go over how many bills there really are, how many parts they need to be voted on, and when that voting going means for you. We also go over the monthly stimulus check, how much those Democrats want you to have. Then we turn to the exciting great news of fifth stimulus. Oh boy, is it exciting. Another stimulus check and the raising up of your benefits a lifetime. And there's a lot of other stuff in fifth stimulus, including money for hazard pay, that heats up in the second half of this video. And then we turn to the big money across the board. And I gotta praise you. You're doing great. We're seeing all the comments from viewers getting $2,000, $3,000, $4,000, $5,000. One viewer, $12,000. Another viewer, $10,000. You're killing it. You're knowing exactly how to do it. You're cashing checks, not tracking checks. And we'll have that in the middle of this video. And this is LALATE, the fastest growing and only 24-hour a day, 7 days a week financial news channel in America. I'm live in the morning and I'm taped in the afternoons. I'm next back with you with Evenings LALATE, which starts at about 90 minutes after this video. So stay on this video when it's done, and within 7 seconds it takes you automatically to Evenings LALATE, which will play about 90 minutes thereafter. Boy, what a run it's been. And yesterday, our biggest subscriber growth for, again, another day in almost 4 weeks. So thank you. And subscribe. 400,000 subscribers, a YouTube record in 1 year. We're almost to 410 now. Every subscriber helps. Next stop is 1 million. Hit that subscribe right now. Like this video. 3,000 likes. Every like helps. It also delivers fettuccine Alfredo. I don't know. That's what I heard. And consider becoming a member. Let's get right into that monthly stimulus check from the House bill and the Senate proposal and those monthly amounts starting right now. They both pay monthly stimulus checks, but they're slightly different. Let's compare. House bill, pandemic plus 1 year monthly. Senate, July to December. So House, more checks. House, progressives more so than moderate Democrats. Then the monthly payouts. They're slightly different as well. A House, 1,000 after the first month of 2,000. Senate monthly unknown, but word on the street is the Senate amount is this. Wow, that is deliciousness. $2,000 a month over 6 months, $12,000 a person. $1,400 a month over 6 months, $8,400 a person. So savory. But let's go back to understand something at issue, which is this. Pandemic plus 1 year, well, those legislators may contend the pandemic's over. And if they contend that, then that would reduce you to 12 months of stimulus checks. If you're in the live chat just after 3 o'clock Pacific Standard Time, get ready to vote House or Senate in just a second. And tell me where you're tuning in from as well. If it gets reduced to 12 months of checks, then the House bill would be $13,000. Let's compare that to the senators. Well, the senators would, in contrast, provide you this. I think you have an opinion. Jump in the live chat right now and vote House or Senate. House or Senate, tell me where you're tuning in from and how's the weather. I know you got an opinion about this one. Vote House or Senate right now. Who gets the fourth stimulus check? Well, Democrats would give everyone who got a third stimulus check a fourth stimulus check. So that's you. If you're a single individual, $75,000 or less, Democrats would give you a fourth stimulus check. Married couple, Democrats would give you a fourth stimulus check if you make less than $150,000. Single individual, $75,000. Married couple, double it. And if you're a family of four, Democrats would give you a fourth stimulus check, quadruple it. And if you're on benefits, Democrats would give you a fourth stimulus check. SSI, SSDI, Social Security, railroad benefits, veterans benefits, survivor benefits. There you go. Congratulations. The fourth stimulus check is not income, so it's not taxable. And the fourth stimulus check would come monthly. It would not come in waves, so it's not a waivable check. So if you see the check at the surf shop checking out a new surfboard and say, hey, check, cowabunga, see you checking out a new surfboard. What's going on, my friend? Surf's up. And the check doesn't respond back. Don't get upset. It's just not a rude check. It also doesn't know how to surf well. Because it's a check, doesn't really have hands. So, I don't know why the check would be at the surf shop. But, maybe just sort of body surfs. And there you go. That's your fourth stimulus check. The Democrats would be serving you that check into the waving you that check through the waves in the month of July for the month of July, in the month of August for the month of August, and they would be calling the vote on July 4th, no later than that, to get that fourth stimulus to the finish line, or to the surf line, to the sand. And there you go. That is the first of your three parts of your fourth stimulus check updated 2021 today. In the second part, we go over the different bills. People have been asking great questions. I'm confused. There's a bill here and there's a bill there. How many bills are there? There's a couple of bills. So I'll explain to you why when we talk about packages, it's different than a standalone bill and how they get combined together. That's coming up in the second half of this video. New stuff you're going to hear for the first time on Afternoons LA. In the third part of this video, we go over calling the vote and what's important to know now that you understand those different parts of the bill, what calling the vote means as to which part is being voted on first. That's coming up later. But first, here's a preview of the second half of this video. It's fifth stimulus, and fifth stimulus has another stimulus check. It also raises your benefits up a lifetime, and yesterday, Jay Powell, head of the Federal Reserve, your chair of the Federal Reserve, spoke about December. And boy, it was great news. It was great news for fourth stimulus as well, but I'm going to talk about it in the context of fifth stimulus. It's coming up in the second half of this video. Wow, I'm excited for that part, so stay with me. But let's get some money. It's Wednesday, and you spent all your money on those dollar tacos last night, so it's time to get some more money right now. That's what this channel does. It gets viewers people's money. And so get a pen and paper ready, and if it must be a Crayola crown, then at least match my purple shirt. And I'm glad I don't have to answer any more KC Royal Blue questions today. Wait for the STL red on Sunday. So get that Crayola crown or pen or paper ready, because I got a lot of money to get you. We're going to go over rent, utilities, mortgages, and homeowners' utilities, and it starts in just 1 second. Each place has different eligibility, so if one says no, reach out to the next. That's what I do on this channel. That is what I do. I don't just report news. I actually get people fortunes of money. I got viewers $25 million of EIDL loans in spring of last year to save their home, their businesses, and their employees' homes. And then in fall of 2020, it was much like now when we were waiting for second stimulus to get out the door and people needed money during the holidays. And I got viewers $15,000 in rent. Tyrone out of Boston got $15,000. I got a ton of viewers who got $12,000. I got big payouts, $7,000, $8,000 for utilities. Well, we're doing it right now as well. So get ready. Here we go. You're going to reach out to 6 different places, and they have a different eligibility. If one says no, reach out to the next until you get a yes. They also have different pots of money. All right, here we go. You're going to reach out to your city hall, your city housing authority, your county hall, your county housing authority, your state hall, your state housing authority. The reason why I mentioned 6 is you reach out to actually 6. People have been asked, say in the comments, I reached out to 1, I got a no. You got to go to the other ones. And there you go. Keywords you say are rent assistance because of COVID, rent assistance because of COVID, or mortgage assistance because of COVID. You don't say words they don't know, like stimulus or Nancy's fan club. Nancy has a fan club. I did not know that. They don't know those words. I don't know those words. So don't say words they don't know because they won't understand what the world you're talking about. And there you go. Congratulations to Tim and Linda who got this great money. And now we're going to cut to a big pot of money. And this is where viewers have been killing it. Oh, before I cut to the next pot of money, congratulations to that one viewer who got $12,000 for rent. Got $12,000 for rent and revealed it on yesterday's live chat. Wow. You're killing it. Keep on doing it. That's the big difference of you and this channel. You're killing and getting big money. I want you to keep on doing it. All right, the next pot of money. Last week, someone $5,000. The week before, someone $6,000 to $7,000. Lynn Glenn got for herself, her mom, and her kid. And Gail got what as well? What is it? It's Snap. It's a big winner for viewers of this channel. Snap is a fortune. And if you've gotten a penny from this channel or 100 pennies, jump in the live chat right now because every person who gets something, when they say they got something, inspires other people. Say, they got it, I can get it. I am now inspired, I can get it as well. And we had a lot of people in live chat yesterday saying they got all these monies for Snap, whether it was $200 additional or they're up to $500 a month. So let's go over all the details. Snap is money from Department of Agriculture, DOA. Reach out to Department of Agriculture to get it. What is it? It's money for food. It pays a fortune. Family of 4 in Hawaii now gets upwards of $16,000 a year. Wow, why so much money? Because of 2 executive orders, one from Trump and one from Biden that raise your benefits up 15% between now and December. So go get it. And we're killing it. You're killing it. You really are. Just incredible success stories. But keep on dropping your comments about what you've got. And we're only 12 minutes into the video, and we've gotten $16,000 for Snap and $5,000 approximately for rent, 4 to 6 months of rent. Let's get to the next pot of money. And it's coming back from your states. The states have been ordered to return money back to you that they had overpaid you due to computer error. And then said, we had a computer error, return it back to us. Well, the federal government said, no, it was not the citizen's problem. You had an old computer. Return the money back to the citizens. So yeah, that money's coming back. One viewer got $5,000 from this. So how are you going to get it? To direct deposit on the accounts you have a file with that unemployment department. When are you getting the money? Well, reach out to your state and ask your state to tell you when that money is coming back that was due to computer error and have them track it with a new computer. You have every right to say that. And then we get to the last pot of money, and Margaret got it, Cod got it, Michael got it. If you got it as well, jump in the live chat. It is the refund back for that IRS. How much, when, where, and how to track it. Let's go over all the details. First, how much? Let's say you had $9,000 of total unemployment benefits. You had $5,000 total taxes to IRS. You're getting back $4,000 on your back from IRS. Congratulations. When? This month. Where? Direct deposit, if that was on your tax return. Otherwise, in the mail. Can you track it? Yeah, about 70% of the time you can. Go to irs.gov, set up a username and password, and go in there and do a transcript search. You'll be shocked what the transcript search will reveal when you do it. You'll go in there, and 70% of the time, it'll reveal the tax return you filed, the taxes you paid, the directions to Nancy's $12 ice cream, the explanation of why Nancy pays $12 for ice cream, and the refund check you're getting back. And there you go. I do this off of, it just comes out of, I don't know what's in my brain, just sort of comes out. And there you go. That is your big exciting news. Is there anything more wonderful than that? There is. And it's a second of your 3 updates of the Forced Stimulus Check of 2021, starting right now with new stuff you're going to hear for the very first time on Afternoons LA. Viewers have been asking really good questions about sort of the minutia of how they do a reconciliation. And I don't often go into the minutia because I think it's sort of boring, but you've been asking it, so I'm going to go over it. It's important to understand that the reason we call these stimulus packages is because they really are a combination of many types of legislation. Normally, a standalone bill has one subject that goes into one subcommittee, and that one subcommittee sends it up and sends it to the House or Senate floor for a vote. Let's say it was a bill on yogurt. It goes to the subcommittee that would oversee yogurt tax. Let's say it's a yogurt tax, the taxing committee, and then it comes out and it goes to a final vote. In the case of a stimulus package, there's a lot of things going on in the stimulus package. There is stimulus checks, and there's infrastructure, and there's different things that don't all belong in the same subcommittee. So they actually have to send the parts to different subcommittees. We saw this in the case of third stimulus. House Ways and Means Committee in third stimulus had FPUC, had stimulus checks, had unemployment issues. The Education Department had the student loan issues, and the Labor Department had other issues. So different committees have different issues. They mark up their part of the bill. So in essence, they are drafting their part of the bill, and they have a draft of that section. So you could call it a part of the bill or their part of the bill, whatever you want to say it. And then that comes up and combines together with all the other subcommittees' parts when it goes to the floor. Then people were asking about, what about starting the voting? How can they start the voting if they haven't finished marking up the bill? Marking up the bill, when we're referring to marking up the bill, editing the bill, is the substantive bill, what I just was referring to. How much tax will there be on the yogurt? How much tax will there be on this? That is the substantive bill. They don't really mark up so much the procedural bill, because the procedural bill is sort of boring. We're going to do it this way, you're going to do it that way. They're marking up the substantive bill. The procedural bill goes voting first. It always does, because it has to. And then you do the substantive bill. So you absolutely start the voting on the procedural bill, start in the voting. So when we say start in the voting on the recon, we're starting the voting by starting with the procedural voting, and then we go into the substantive voting when the substantive markup is done. There you go. And this is what Bernie Sanders was talking about on Sunday. Bernie Sanders says, I haven't seen the bill yet. So I have some issues I still have some lack of clarity. What he's referring to is not the procedural bill. He doesn't care about the procedural bill. He cares about the substantive bill, and he knows it's being marked up on. Now, also, for the first time you're hearing this on Afternoons LA, that what Chuck Schumer's likely doing, because he did with third stimulus, is he's doing the markup of the substantive bill in those subcommittees of the House in conjunction with subcommittees of the Senate. There's two reasons to do this. One, it saves time, so you don't have to repeat the process twice. Normally, you would mark up in the subcommittee of the House, call for vote on the House floor. Then to the Senate subcommittee, mark up the Senate subcommittee, and come out and do it again. You don't do it. You don't have to do it twice. You just do it once. Second, it saves from the protection. It gives you protection from ambush. He said under third stimulus he was very deeply worried of having it sent to the Senate subcommittee and not coming out of it because it could get derailed by the GOP and left in subcommittees and never come out of it. So that's another issue. Third, something you're going to hear for the first time, well, I said it a few days ago, but I'm going to say it again today, but with more clarity, is that there's a lot of other bills going on at the moment that have nothing to do with fourth stimulus. And I told you, the voting rights bill, which is voting rights reform, went for a vote, is going for a vote or went for a vote this week. One viewer said, oh no, the GOP blocked our stimulus package. No, that was the voting rights bill. And I know it's confusing because there's a lot of bills out there. But the great news about that voting rights reform not passing for purposes of you is that it now clears their work schedule to focus only on this. And it also gives the Democrats a lift and an oomph to get it done because that was blocked by the GOP. Recon cannot be blocked by the GOP. So there we go. Where are we on the reconciliation process? We're currently underway. We're ending by July 4th, Leader Schumer confirms, with a passage by July 4th, and all Democrats are on board to pass it. And how did we get to that wonderful spot? We got to that wonderful spot with the letter from Jalapal to Chuck about a week ago, saying, Chuck, call the vote. And Chuck said, okay. We are calling the vote. But Jalopal's letter was co-signed by 12 House Democrats, who are among the 100-plus House Democrats who had said to the president in a letter a week earlier, said, Mr. President, we're going to be writing monthly stimulus checks in the fourth stimulus package. Wow. That is wonderful. Can we top that? We can't top that. As 7 House Democrats had written the president a letter about a week ago, saying, Mr. President, when we write the fourth stimulus checks, we will be writing monthly stimulus checks in there for the fourth stimulus package. Oh my goodness. Well, who are these people to say that? What do they do for a living? They're on the House subcommittee that is solely exclusively responsible for writing stimulus checks. As I just explained before, some subcommittees do certain things. They're on the subcommittee that does the stimulus check part. And did they write the first stimulus check? They did. Did they write the second stimulus check? They did. Did they write the third stimulus check? They did. And now they say they're writing the fourth stimulus check. They say they are. And they're currently marking it up. OMG. Are they writing a fifth stimulus check? They say they are as well, and that's coming up later in this video. Wow, that is wonderful news. Can we top that? We can top that. As Jalopal and the president really exchange niceties on Friday, and Jalopal and the president exchange niceties, with Jalopal and the president basically saying the following. The president has 2 progressive policies that he has made very clear he wants in for stimulus. Otherwise, he'll veto it. And those 2 progressive policies he wants Jalopal and her team to write in there are climate and also CARES economy, which refers to seniors and medicine. Jalopal's response is, we're putting it in there and we're watching it and guiding it all the way to the finish line, to which the president is a happy camper. And the president says back to the Jalopal and her team, then I will watch your back as well for your progressive policies you want to add in there. And of course, Jalopal's progressive policy that they represent they're going to be putting in there, the monthly stimulus check. The president watching Jalopal's back and Jalopal watching the president's back. Wow, can we get better news than that? We can, when the president of the United States 2 Saturdays ago signed a major legislation overseas which anchors fourth stimulus to the edge of the finish line by making it easier to pass fourth stimulus because now the provisions are covered in that international agreement. Let me explain what's at issue. Fourth stimulus is paid for by raising the U.S. corporate tax rate. But the president said by raising the U.S. corporate tax rate, he would be worried that potentially U.S. corporations may move overseas to where taxes are lower. So he reached out to those other countries, said, hey, can you raise your taxes? So they said yes. And the president reached out to his staff and said, I like this. Let's deliver some that caramel popcorn that Jill likes to those countries in December. Then have them sign on the dotted line and get them to sign this into law. If they do, we'll remove those provisions for fourth stimulus. Well, the president surprised us all. Because 2 Saturdays ago, he went overseas for his first international trip as president and got them to sign it into law. Now, this is huge. This is wonderful because it anchors fourth stimulus to the edge of the finish line because no longer do you need those provisions about international taxes in fourth stimulus. They're covered in the international agreement, which makes it easier for the Democrats to pass fourth stimulus. Wow. Now, that is wonderful news. Can we top that wonderful news? We can. And it's with the third part of our fourth stimulus check coming up in the second half of this video with breaking news you're going to hear for the first time on Afternoons LA. Wow, that is coming up. And also fifth stimulus with Jay Powell's comments. I'll be analyzing why fifth stimulus is absolutely lining up exactly like how we had hoped based upon your Fed chair's comments. But is there anything better than that? Yes, the volunteers. If you need help with rent, utilities, mortgage assistance, reach out to the volunteers. They're salt of the earth. They truly embody the Purple Power spirit. I had one viewer who is a former volunteer send me a very nice message and said, thank you for everything you do. And I still get praises from viewers thanking her for everything she did a few months ago during her time as a volunteer. That is the true spirit of the Purple Power. The volunteers are on the community page. How do you find the community page? Reach down in the comments and open the comments. You will see reach down to the description, open the description. You'll see an emoji of a house. Next to that emoji of a house is the link to the community page, news.lalate.com/community. It sends you over to the community page, and there you'll see a picture of some kitty cats. They're not your volunteers. They're just kitty cats. Lower on the page are the volunteers. Reach out to them, and they'll help you get that money. They cannot cook you a tostada. They cannot make you $12 ice cream. They cannot tell you a San Francisco hairstyle. But they can help you with rent, utilities, mortgage assistance, SNAP, and that free internet. And congratulations to Art, who got a lot of money for rent and for internet and for something else. He got three things, which I haven't said that in a while. I always tell viewers, if you got one, go get something else as well. He killed it. He went from one to the next. I love that. You got to do that as well. And you also have to stay with me because I'll be back in 60 seconds. So here's a little bit about the volunteers. See you in about 60 seconds with the second half of your fourth stimulus check and fifth stimulus package. If you want money right now, not 5 days from now, and not 5 weeks from now, then reach out to the community page. The volunteers can help you find that money for rent and utilities. That's at news.la.com/community. The community page features a series of volunteers who are viewers like you. They can help you find rent, utilities, SNAP, food benefits, mortgage assistance, and help you with eviction moratorium questions as well. Their Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram individuals reach out to them and indicate the city and state you're from, and they'll get back to you shortly. That's a community page. Volunteers working for you, viewers helping one another. Stay with LA for more. Join LALATE Daily for the excitement of the new LALATE live daily. The excitement starts on mornings LALATE at 9 a.m. Home LALATE returns at 11 a.m. daily. And then afternoons LALATE at 1 p.m. Join us daily as the excitement continues live from Santa Monica on LALATE. And the excitement continues right now on Afternoons LA with incredible details coming up to you this second half. We have a lot more coming up about fourth stimulus, about fifth stimulus, that fifth stimulus check, and that fifth stimulus package. But first, subscribe. And boy, you are killing it. Yesterday was our biggest day on subscriber growth in nearly 3 weeks. It was even bigger than the day before, which was also a record. So keep on subscribing. 400,000 subscribers, a YouTube record in 1 year. Next up, 1 million. Hit that subscribe button right now. Also, like this video. 3,000 likes. Every like helps, and it also delivers a beautiful a bouquet of Parmesan. I don't know where I get this. And consider becoming a member. Stay with this video. It'll automatically take you into overnight evenings LALATE right after it, 90 minutes after this video is over. Stay here. It'll automatically take you in there. And then after that is Overnights Crypto at 5:30 Pacific Standard Time, our hit show. And thank you for tuning in to making that show's viewership last night its most watched ever. All right, let's turn to fifth stimulus. Fifth stimulus has so much breaking news about what's going on, but I want to get right into Jay Powell's comments first. Jay Powell, head of the Federal Reserve, testified on Capitol Hill yesterday. Again, he was there last week, but he came back yesterday. And he just had so much wonderful news for us that is great news for fourth stimulus and fifth stimulus. The most important thing he said was, one, the economy is not fully rebounded. Two, that it needs support and stimulus, Fed stimulus, and that he'll continue to provide that Fed stimulus all the way to December. Wow. I mean, that's like a poster for fourth and fifth stimulus, because fourth stimulus is now and fifth stimulus is December. He says the economy needs support all the way into December. Now, when does it not need support? Exactly what he's been saying for almost a year on this channel. The same story that he has been saying, which is about January 2022 is when it no longer needs support. He said, and this is where fifth stimulus just really heats up. He says that all numbers will be red hot in December of 2021. Inflation will be red hot, really high. Labor, people will be back to work. Job creation will be very high. Business growth will be very high. GDP, which is our how much the economy is making, very high in December. He says it's going to zoom, it's going to pick up. Price of goods sold will, commodities will drop like lumber and copper, but inflation will go up. And then in January and February, things will sort of ease down, but we'll still have a booming economy. What does that mean for stimulus? Everything. It means that what Wall Street analysts and myself were saying were correct, that inflation is here. It's going up, it's going up, it's going up, and it's going to hit a peak or a transitory, what they call transitory, temporary spike before it comes down. And that peak will be around November, December. That's now what Jay Powell's confirming. So the only thing that remains unknown for purposes of fifth stimulus and applying that benchmark of inflation to your benefits is what is the interest rate. Wall Street and most analysts think that it could be 10%. They think that we're maybe at 4% now. Jay Powell always uses a lower number because he doesn't want to spook the markets. But let's say it's 10%. Let's get to that detail in 1 second. First, let's go over everything else you need to know before we get into that calculation. Will it be a fifth stimulus check? Yes, the Democrats in that subcommittee represent that they'll be writing a fifth stimulus check. That would be January 2022. And the vote would be in around November, December. They would start drafting the legislation in September. Number two, the president has dedicated a $1 billion allocation of funds to the Social Security Administration to ensure your benefits checks, any other checks like fourth stimulus and fifth stimulus checks go out on time. Unlike the debacle third stimulus earlier this year, this would be money dedicated to staffing, computer systems, and processings to ensure you get monies faster. All right, so let's go to that Jay Powell calculation. Let's first understand how benefits work under this fifth stimulus reform and why this is absolutely wonderful news. First, they'll raise your benefits up a lifetime. Then they'll apply a benchmark of inflation, remove the asset cap, remove the marriage penalty, and remove the income exclusion. All right, let's go over how this calculates. The first part is easy. We all understand the first part. They're going to raise your benefits up one time. This is you if you're on SSI, SSDI, Social Security, railroad benefits, veterans benefits, survivor benefits, SSA, and Calcino benefits. They'll be all raised up one time. Then they'll apply the benchmark every December for next year's benefits. That's what they're currently doing now. Only difference, a new benchmark. Inflation. You got all this. This is the easy part. So where does the calculation come in? Trying to figure out what that benchmark will be when they first apply it in November and December. You and I know, even the federal chair has now confirmed that inflation will be at its highest part in November, December, later this year when it's applied. This is huge because it raises your benefits up lifetime because your benefits never step down once they step up. But how high could it be? Wall Street thinks it could be 10%. Wall Street thinks we could be going from 4% to 10% and then coming back down. If it's 10%, it would raise your benefits up 10%, not just next year, but lifetime. This is why this is astronomically great news. It is more than SS200 would ever have paid you because this is a lifetime step up. And it's absolutely wonderful because your benefits would never step down. Next, they're going to remove the asset cap dating back to a 1980s law that says you can't have more than $3,000 in hand. Now you'll be able to have some stimulus checks in your hand and some Crayola crowns. Though we're going to remove the income cap dating back to a 1960s law that says you can't work and stay on benefits. Now you'll be able to work if you want to. And finally, they're going to remove the marriage penalty. Love is going to win, and you'll be able to marry your longtime love interest and no longer fear the marriage penalty. And viewers like Rob and Sandra will be able to get married and no longer fear the marriage penalty. And there you go. That is fifth stimulus. But there's a lot of money in third stimulus, fourth stimulus, and fifth stimulus for you to get. And it's important to know what's in third stimulus, what's in fourth, and what's in fifth. For example, viewers, as you're seeing across this recording today, are getting $12,000, $5,000, $4,000, 3 items of assistance, because they're using the benefits of becoming a member. What's a member? A member is delivered to them by me, handwritten daily, a breakdown of all the monies they can get under third stimulus. They're mostly application-based. They're not automatic, so you need to apply for them. And they're thousands of dollars. When third stimulus was passed, I told you, you're going to be qualified for about $5,000 to $15,000, $20,000. Much more than a fourth stimulus, than a third stimulus check of $1,400. And now viewers are killing it. Second, fourth stimulus is about to get passed relatively soon, and you need to know what's in there. And fifth stimulus is there as well. So by becoming a member, you're sent daily a breakdown of all the items in the third stimulus that you can get and ready to get under fourth and fifth stimulus. And there you go. Let's go back now to fourth stimulus for the final update of this big recording. Fourth stimulus, a lot of big things going on. So you saw earlier in this recording how I broke down the differences of different subcommittees. One of the things you need to laser focus on is stimulus checks are done in the House Ways and Means Committee. That is where stimulus checks are written up. on the House side. On the Senate side, it's just done during the vote-a-rama. So you're not going to be looking to other subcommittees to wonder where the stimulus checks are. Now, that is very important because they're marking that language up and they're calling it for a vote. Their vote is in their subcommittee. Then it goes to the House floor. The House floor can modify it as well. Then it goes to the Senate, and the senators can modify it by vote-a-rama. Marking it up means they literally have a pen. The pen has an ink on one side and an eraser on the other side. At any time, they can change their opinion. So it's important to understand, there we go. Let's go over the 9 voting steps. Step 1 is the first four steps are much mechanics, very boring. Nothing of a surprise. It's step 5, 7, and 8 that you have to pay attention to because that's where changes can be made. Step 1, the House subcommittee calls the vote on the procedural bill. This is why I said earlier in the video, they may be calling the vote. They're calling the vote now, but they're still marking up the bill because they're calling the vote on the procedural part, but still marking up the substantive part. The procedural part doesn't have anything for America in it. It just says how they're going to procedurally do things. Step 2, the House floor calls a procedural vote. Step 3, the Senate votes on the procedural bill. Step 4, the President signs a procedural bill into law. At that point, the tow truck has passed over the finish line. Time to go back and get the tow hitch. All right, so you saw over those 4 steps, they're calling the votes on the procedural bill. But at the same time, the House subcommittee is still marking up for step 5. Here we go. Substantive bill now, which is a different bill, gets that final markup and then the vote. House subcommittee, House Ways and Means, calls the vote. There may be stimulus checks in there. There may not be. And there may be other surprises. There may be an extension of FPUC in there. You never know. And then step 6, it goes to the House floor. Steps 7 and 8, the senators, like Bernie Sanders, receive the bill from the House. At that point, the senators have 3 possibilities. They can look at the bill and see that there's no stimulus checks in there and amend it and add stimulus checks in there. Possibility number 2, the House gave them a bill with stimulus checks in there and the senators love it, they leave it alone. Or possibility number 3, the House gave them a bill with stimulus checks in there and the senators still want to amend. And step 4, the President signs into law. Next, fake narratives. Fake narratives are certainly heating up all week long. But one of the things I want to go over with you, because we are running along on this video, is I want to go over a series of things so you know it's a non-starter. It's nothing to worry about. First, bipartisanship, no, it's not happening. It's not happening. They've ran out of time. So you're going to see chatter about the bipartisan effort. Not going to happen. Moreover, it was a joke yesterday on Tuesday when the bipartisan group, which is really 4 or 5 people, it's not hundreds of members of Congress, it's 4 people who are sort of isolated and outcasts, were asked, have you agreed upon how to pay for the bill? They said, no, we haven't even started working on that. See, this is exactly why the Democrats don't like this group, because they're just playing games. They're trying to tell you they're doing something so that you don't do recon and run out of time. Yeah, now you see. So, fake narrative. Bipartisan stuff, you should never even mention a harp breath. Second, there have been a series of people who have been ramping up very uncalled for conduct on airlines lately. And airline stewardesses and pilots have said they have never seen the level of disorderly conduct in recent years. I have seen, and you have seen, a step up of trolls, and it's really out of control. So I ask for you to tag any person you think that is doing troll behavior on this anywhere. And I'm seeing them even bother my viewers. And I see them bothering viewers on both sides of the political spectrum. I have one viewer who's a Republican, very proud Republican, and she was being attacked saying, get back to work, you're lazy. It's just awful. So I want you to tag trolls, and I'm going to figure out a way that we can make it a fun event that people are rewarded for tagging trolls. Maybe we will do it as some type of like rewards program or something. I don't know. We'll figure something out fun. But here are what the trolls, this is where trolls are just really out of control. They're saying that third stimulus is fourth stimulus. They don't even understand what third stimulus is versus fourth stimulus. Trolls are saying that single individuals in the Democratic Party are going to block the bill. Bernie's going to block the bill. No one in the Democratic Party is probably going to block the bill. And it's important for you to understand that they have a vendetta against the president. For the first time ever on this channel, I'm going to reveal something to you right now. Right after the election night, I had to go into the I had to go into the control functions of this channel and ban the following expression: Biden isn't the president. And in fact, I know other channels had to do it as well. There were so many people that got into comments right after the election night that were saying Biden's not the president. And guess what? It continued for months, and we had to add additional words to ensure that people posting things like Biden is not the president. So it is sort of this sort of mentality that people just don't like Biden. And those people, I believe, are the ones that are back that are doing this thing. It's important to understand there is one concern, and there's only one real big concern for me, is timing. They got to get this whole thing done. So my concern is not so much the stimulus checks, it's getting the whole thing done. And that's why Purple Power Push is very important. For the first time on Noontime, I want to tell you this. I want you to tag the House Ways and Means Twitter account. I want you to tag them because they're the one that there are certain people that are doing stimulus checks for you. House Ways and Means Subcommittee, the Progressives, the Progressive Caucus, and the House Ways and Means Chair, Richard Neal. I mean, these are people who have the ability to do stimulus checks for you. And also Bernie Sanders, Elizabeth Warren, the progressives on the Senate side. So tag on social media, Democratic senators, Democratic House members, tag progressives, progressive caucuses, like House Progressive, Jalopal, any committee that Jalopal's on its members, then the House Ways and Means Committee, Richard Neal, and its members, and then all your progressives in the Senate. Finally, if you don't use Twitter, Facebook, Reddit, or Instagram, and can't retweet other people's tweets, or don't know how to use Twitter, or don't know how to use Facebook or Instagram, use the old-fashioned way. Pick up the telephone, and you've been doing a great job about that as well. Pick up the telephone and call your elected officials and express professionally why you need stimulus checks. Very short horizon, now is the time to push. And with that, thank you for joining me on this extended broadcast. Stay with it. In 7 seconds, this video will take you into Evenings LALATE, and it's going to be a big broadcast tonight. Stay with this video. It'll automatically take you into Evenings LALATE, and then after that, it'll take you into Overnight's Crypto, which is going to be a big show tonight. And with that, make sure you subscribe. 400,000 subscribers, a YouTube record. I want you part of this family. You see how we get to the finish line together and how we get money. Viewers are killing it. Thousands of dollars. It's your day to get that money as well. Like this video, 2,000-3,000 likes. It delivers free artichokes. Don't like artichokes? I'm so sorry. It delivers free pizza. Consider becoming a member. Purple Power Casino VIP, so you get delivered to you daily what's in third and fourth of this stimulus for you to get that money. Stay informed, stay focused, and have a beautiful afternoon, and stay with LA for more.